In the last video, we spoke about the role of the Victorian Law Reform Commission. In this video, I'll go through how to answer SAC or exam questions that deal with the VLRC. These questions come in a number of forms. You may get a question on your SAC or exam that just asks you to describe the role of the VLRC, but you could be asked to use your knowledge to assess whether the VLRC plays an important part in the ever-changing legal system. Finally, don't forget that if a question ever asks you to discuss a formal pressure for change in the law, it's asking you to discuss the VLRC. Let's look at an example. The 2012 VCAR exam included the following question. Without the assistance of the Victorian Law Reform Commission, the Victorian Parliament would be less able to make laws that reflect society's values. Students were asked to what extent they agreed and to give reasons for their answer. The question was worth 7 marks. Let's unpack the statement. First, it's saying that the VLRC helps to make laws that reflect society's values. Second, it says that the Victorian Parliament cannot, on its own, make laws that reflect society's values. You have to decide for yourself whether you agree with one, none, or both of those statements, and then use your knowledge of the VLRC and of Victorian Parliament to back up your opinion. I'm going to quickly run through a template for how to structure answers of this type before dealing with this specific example. In responding to these sorts of questions, the first thing you need to do is put forward an overall argument. This is one sentence which gives your opinion on all aspects of the question. Then you should respond to the first statement, offering your contention. Back up this contention with a piece of evidence and then provide a quick explanation. Then do the same for the second statement. There's no need for a concluding statement. The mark allocation is not straightforward. For smaller questions, an examiner might award 1 mark for a definition and 1 for an explanation, but with bigger questions like this, the examiner marks you on your overall response to the question. I'd advise that you spend about half your time discussing the first statement and half your time discussing the second. Okay, let's now apply our template back to the question. For our overall argument, we could say, the VLRC certainly helps Victorian Parliament to understand why the public holds certain social values, yet Parliament does not need the VLRC to make law that reflects social values. Note that we have taken clear positions on both statements in the question. Next, we need to respond to the first statement, that the VLRC does help to make laws that reflect social values. If we wanted to agree with the question, we could say, by listening directly to the community, the VLRC does help to make laws that reflect society. Now we need to support our argument by using an example. Here we are going to reference the VLRC's role, like this. One of the VLRC's roles is to collect submissions from members of the public, which helps the Commission to gauge the public opinion. Finally, we need an explanation. We could say that gauging public opinion through submissions helps the VLRC determine what recommendations it will make to the Attorney General. Furthermore, submissions allow people the opportunity to explain their point of view. The VLRC doesn't just discover whether people are in favour for a certain change to the law, it discovers why certain people support the change. The VLRC's input, therefore, might be vital since it goes beyond polls and statistics and looks in depth at public opinion. We're now done with the first statement and move on to the second. Use the same structure when responding to the second statement. Indicate whether you agree that Victorian Parliament needs the VLRC to properly gauge community values, then use the role of Victorian Parliament as evidence, and explain why your evidence supports your argument. So finally, our answer looks like this. However, Victorian Parliament does have the capacity to reflect society's values on its own without the help of the VLRC. Members of Parliament are elected by the people and their job is to represent their people in lawmaking. This means that if MPs do their job well, they will directly consult the opinions of the people. It's in their best interest to represent the people because that keeps them in a job. MPs, in theory, will then vote in line with what their constituents want. Thanks for watching and happy studying.